Okay. Let me just mute that. Okay, yeah. I think we are. We are here. We are live. Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, my man?
Yeah, good now yourself. It's a lovely day here in Ireland. I don't know about UK, but the sun's out and
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
weather.
No, it's been nice. Last couple of days have been really good. Apparently, it's meant to be like pretty shit for the rest of the week. So it's been like, oh, let's actually enjoy some weather for like 2 days, and then that's it. That's all we get here in the UK. It's like 2 days, 3 days,
Yeah,
and then it goes. It's just fucking
yeah.
terrible.
Just when you have plans made and you're starting to enjoy it,
Mm.
the weather's like, no, that's enough for you guys. So
Yeah, and it's like there's a lot of lockdown restrictions are coming in. Like I think in Wales they're lifting a lot of restrictions today actually. So yeah, so it's like oh yeah, there's all this stuff. It's cool, and then it's like terrible
yeah,
weather. But it's good. I managed to
yeah,
get out and about over the weekend, so I was grateful for that. Uh,
yeah.
but
That's good.
yeah,
Hopefully, this is the last of our lockdowns, and hopefully, this new. I think was there an Indian variant of it or something like that? It was
yeah, it's god
pretty
awful
bad.
over in India at the moment.
Oh,
So yeah, I think there's like there's like 100 or 200 cases in the UK or something. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But people do not come here to talk about COVID and all of
yeah.
the horrible
They want
things
to
that
get
are
away
going
from
on in
that.
the world.
They want to get away from
Exactly,
that.
exactly. So the only like huge big thing to talk about, I mean, like it was the Oscars, but there wasn't like too much drama there. I think Chadwick not getting a posthumous Oscar, I think, was probably the biggest piece of drama that I heard. Aside from that,
Yeah,
I just I didn't even know that they were on, and then I just like woke up to a load of tweets and it was like, what the fuck? Why wasn't Chadwick? When didn't Chadwick get an Oscar? And everyone, oh, and yeah, it was Anthony Hopkins getting one instead of Riz Ahmed, wasn't it? I think people weren't too happy about that one either, but I don't know. I saw
yeah.
you shared a lot of the results. Was there anything that was enraged you specifically?
Yeah, like I was expecting Chadwick to get it because they usually finish on Best Picture. This year
Mm.
they finished on Best Actor, which was kind of strange. And the Best Picture was Nomadland. That's a movie I still have to see. And
Yes, it looks really good.
yeah, there's a few of the Oscar ones I need to see. That I'm probably gonna butcher the name. I think it's Minari or something like that. It's
Hmm.
the Korean film, I think. Stephen Yeun, of course, Glenn from The Walking Dead, he
Yes.
stars in it. He was nominated as well. So I have to watch a few of them, but yeah, I was expecting Chadwick to win it because we're finishing on Best Actor, and it didn't happen. Like, because like Anthony Hopkins, like, is a great actor, but Chadwick Boseman will never win an Oscar. You know what I mean? He'll never. This was a chance to give him one, but then it probably just shows us that when Heath Ledger won, it wasn't because he died; it was because his performance was
Because I was going to say
crap.
that's a very interesting like side aspect of the whole debate, isn't it? Is should these people get an Oscar because they put in an Oscar-winning performance, or was the performance made better because of the fact that they had died? I think that's definitely been a not a huge debate, but it's been there around Heath Ledger's Joker for sure, as you say. I think that's
Mm,
was his performance in The Dark Knight like improved by the fact that we're thinking of him fondly because he had died, or was it just that fucking good?
yeah,
And I've been like back and forth, but then I'll just like watch The Dark Knight and I'll be like, nah, I don't. It doesn't matter that he's dead. That's fucking amazing.
yeah, he's crap. Yeah, I never get tired of watching that movie. Like, I still think it's the best comic book movie of all time. I just think it flows perfectly.
Hmm.
Like, I just think it goes from Act One to Act Two to Act Three.
Yes.
I think it perfectly flows. I never get tired of watching that movie, and it flies by for me. Like, I love Batman v Superman, I love the Joker movie, but it's just Dark Knight for me. Well, I don't think it's just the pinnacle. I don't think it'll ever be beaten
Hmm.
for those performances by Heath Ledger, and then even Taron. What's the guy's name? Two Face.
Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah, you never get to see him in much nowadays, and he gave a great performance as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the very least, the Oscars gives just a little bit of drama right at the end, anyway. As
Yeah,
I saw something like viewership was down like 50 or 60% from last year. Um, so I don't know. It's quite crazy, isn't it? It's like the pinnacle of entertainment awards, and it's just kind of slowly dying, which is quite strange
yeah.
to see.
They need to change something about it. It can be quite boring, and last night with no crowd or no clapping and stuff,
Oof.
it just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
I think they need to get a host. Like, they got rid of the host a few years ago, but Kevin Hart was cancelled or something like that. Like, that's just ridiculous stuff. Like, a host is makes people tune in. Like, if I don't know, if The Rock was the host of the Oscars. Like, wouldn't people just tune in to see The Rock or Ryan Reynolds just to see them because they're funny and see
How
what
did
they've
they
got to
go
do?
from like award to award if there was no host? Was it just like a voiceover that was transitioning everything?
They just bring out like different celebrities to say this is
Uh,
the next award and stuff like that, and that's it. Yeah, and then like graphics come up on the screen for some of the awards and
uh,
other. It's just it's not great.
yeah, and they can't really use the excuse of saying like, oh, it's a pandemic, so that's why people didn't watch. Like, if anything, more people would watch because they've got
Yeah,
might have nothing to do, or they can more easily watch something on TV. But yeah, I
yeah.
mean, that's really it. That's the only other thing that's like really happened in the last week, unless I'm forgetting anything. I don't think we've had anything
Uh,
particularly fantastic
just,
happen.
I don't know, like HBO Max numbers came out, but like, what
Mm.
do you gauge the success of them on? HBO Max. Like, I don't know. It's just, they didn't release any Zack Snyder's Justice League numbers anyway, so that's a good indication that they don't really care for it and they don't really want to expand it anymore. And like I think that like, Zack Snyder's Justice League did pretty well, but we'll never know.
Yeah, I mean it's that's the debate, really, isn't it? It's like if it was trash and just bombed to hell, would they have just gone? Would they have released numbers? What is holding them back? The only like I think logical argument for a lot of people is obviously that the studio doesn't want it to happen. So if it did really well, they don't want to say that. But you would think that it's a HBO Max decision, not a Warner Bros. Decision, not a Warner. I mean, I guess you got Warner Media up top, but with people like Jason Kilar, you kind of assumed that there was some kind of like normality about people who are running the show, and people are going to say, "Yeah, we want to release a Snyder Cut and do more because this is really successful for us." And it kind of implies that it's just going up to the top. It's going even higher. There's not that. I know we talked about this a lot. We said, how is there not just like one executive at AT&T who's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you doing a sequel? Like we know for a fact that Captain America: Winter Soldier, they greenlit the fourth Captain America movie following the finale,
Yeah,
and yeah, I mean it's just like you got one very competent team behind the whole thing and one very incompetent executive team behind the whole thing. It's night and day, really, isn't it?
yeah. Like it's their own fault. Like HBO Max, they should change the name big time because I don't think it's doing too well. Off
Mm.
that, like, the branding isn't too good. Like I don't think it's a quality problem with like Godzilla v Kong, Tom and Jerry, Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
Zack Snyder's Justice League, Mortal Kombat. I think it's just a branding problem for HBO Max in terms of maybe how they promote their stuff. But maybe it should be called Warner Brothers something because Warner Brothers is very popular. Who like I was just saying to somebody like I know it's not here, but like different places around the world where HBO Max is available. If you told them you have HBO Max, they'd be like, "What's that?"
Mm.
And then they were counting the numbers for HBO Go as well. This other kind of app they have. They were just kind of messy. So I think changing the name, a better rebranding, and like look at Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the biggest watched thing I think for Disney. And
Mm.
then 5 weeks for the first episode, then 5 weeks later they greenlit a movie. It's just the difference night and day, and it shows that Marvel care about their fan base and like they listen to their fan base.
Yeah, well, it's a case of it. You don't even have to say it's as far as them caring. You have to just say they're just sensible. They just go, oh, a shitload of people really like, because like they obviously have a plan for Wanda going into Doctor Strange and stuff like that. So that was always a thing. With Bucky and Falcon, it's like, okay, we've got this show. There's not as clear a trajectory for them going forward. So for them to say, oh, well, people really fucking love this show, I'm assuming it's one of those things that are like, okay, we'll pencil in maybe doing a film if this does well, and then they see the numbers and they're like, okay, it's a no-brainer. People love this show. Let's make a movie out of it. We can afford it. We can do it. The demand is there. Done. Simple. That's the only decision you have to
Yeah,
make, right? It's
yeah. And it's funny because like once theaters go back to the way they're supposed to be, Godzilla v Kong won't be playing on HBO Max first.
Mhm.
Mortal Kombat won't be doing it. Matrix. None of these movies are going to be on HBO Max. Like next year's 2022 slate.
Yeah.
They're not going to hit HBO Max first. The theaters are back working. So what do HBO Max have that's
Yeah.
original that gets people excited that makes them want to subscribe? Like the biggest thing they've had that's a HBO Max original was Zack Snyder's Justice League, and they're not going to bring in anything for that, which is ridiculous. And I think if they brought in the worldwide numbers for Zack Snyder's Justice League and said, and it's the way they market their stuff. If they said Zack Snyder's Justice League HBO Max original, this is what it did domestically. This is what it did around the world.
Mhm.
We're gonna go and we're gonna make more of this because the HBO Max original has done these numbers. It's insane, but it's about the way that they market this stuff. Like they're all about Mortal Kombat, they're all about Godzilla v Kong, but those are the movies or sequels. Hopefully on HBO Max come next year or the year after.
Yeah.
On the first day. So HBO has to come up with some pretty big things. And like Game of Thrones has been ended since 2016. Nothing more so far. 5 years since that ended. Like Harry Potter series should have been in the works years ago. No. Lord of the Rings was sold to Amazon. So they've lost huge IPs, and I just think their management of their products has been really poor.
Yeah, and I think they've released some pictures today of the first like table readings of one of the new Game of Thrones spin-off shows, the Targaryen one, I think. So that's obviously going through, but it's like, okay, well, with your big budget stuff, I mean, you have things like your Raised by Wolves, you've got your Flight Attendant, but that doesn't, and I guess it's going to be very hard to emulate anything that Marvel has, but I don't think there's quite as much kind of penetration into the general marketplace as HBO Max would like with certain projects, like the Flight Attendant. What's that? I mean, you have obviously Disney Plus has that inbuilt advantage of having, I mean, Disney behind it, but also having 10, 11 years of an MCU behind it to go, okay, I know what this is. There's a much lower kind of barrier to entry, but I guess that's you can't really fault that for HBO Max in the sense of that's kind of just an inherent thing that Disney has going for it. But that being said, you do have things like Zack Snyder's Justice League. You do have the DC Universe right there. Oh, here's a giant chunk of it that you could have just your streams. I'm sure we sound like broken records. I'm sure we touch on this like every single week of how the hell are they not just greenlight just a Deathstroke movie? Just do that. The fact that people have to literally beg, and trend 500,000 tweets every other week just to get films that are looking increasingly unlikelier. And then you have
ridiculous.
Yeah, and you have someone like Marvel who's like, oh, you really like that show? Oh, you can have a movie. It's pain.
It's annoying. It's annoying. And like we have to wait for Satana and Blue Beetle and Static Shock, but like they're not even filming those movies right now.
Yeah, we just heard that they're coming, and that's it.
Yeah, might never happen. And Green Lantern Corps was announced like 2 years ago. Still nothing on that. Constant or Justice League Dark announced over a year and a half ago. Still nothing. I know there's been COVID and stuff, but like, come on, just get the stuff out there.
You got people who are paying to see this stuff, but hey, who knows? I mean, what at the very least we can do right now is have a bit more of a positive discussion about something that we have enjoyed, which would be Falcon and Winter Soldier. So if anyone, the thousands of people who watch every week, if there are any people who haven't seen the finale, we're now going to go mad spoilers. In terms of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale, what did you think?
Yeah, look, it's a very fast-paced episode. It wasn't filler. It was just like the minute the show started, the episode started, it was just pump, 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 action, action, action. Look at Sam in his new suit, Flag Smashers, John Walker, Bucky comes in, Sharon Carter comes in as well, George St. Pierre, I think the UFC fighter, I don't know his name on the show, but just everyone's in it and everyone's fighting and there's big high stakes going on, the helicopter chase sequence. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Like it probably could have done 1 or 2 episodes maybe to finish off the season, but still, I think this season's been brilliant. Like I said to you last week, it's top tier MCU quality for me. It's just really, really good. It's up there with Infinity and Winter Soldier. And I'm so happy that we're going to get a Captain America 4 with Sam. I just think the themes of racism, PTSD with Bucky, racism with Sam is done perfectly in terms of making us kind of see how the world really is, making us feel for these characters. Of course, either of us don't know what it's like to be a black man or face those kind of issues, but to actually make us feel for the character, just imagine what it makes it, how it feels for a person of colour. That was done really well. The stuff that I say of Bradley was heartbreaking throughout the season, and I'm glad kind of got his closure as well. And I just think it was a really good episode. Yeah, it could have been spaced out a little bit better. It could have maybe cut down a little bit. The action could have been a little bit better. I just really enjoyed the final episode. I enjoyed all 6 episodes back, and I just think, well done. It's really well done. Fair play to Marvel, because it is something different. I heard people saying, "Oh, it's just the same old MCU stuff." I don't think so. I think it was a nice mixture of MCU stuff, regular stuff, but also brought a lot of new elements to the MCU which I hope they bring into the movie.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't get the. Uh, if I hound on about the soundtrack again, I think I probably caused you to throw yourself out a window. But like the soundtrack is like really like the only thing that kind of feels samey for Marvel. Everything felt, fresh. And I mean, like I had interest in these characters before, but now I'm like, hell yeah, I got to the end, I'm rooting for them, and I'm like, I don't know, it's just I agree 100% with what you said. I think it is like easily some of the best from the MCU, in my opinion. It's easily one of my favorite MCU things that I've seen. It's just really well done. Action was pretty damn good. Characters were amazingly well done. The themes that they touch on were very surprising for an MCU product. Not product. It's a really horrible way of phrasing it. For an MCU series. Yeah, and I mean, I guess it kind of goes hand in hand. You've got like WandaVision that's kind of going into trauma and loss, and this you've got, racism, as you say, PTSD, and all this stuff. So, yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. I thought the whole series was really, really great. Personally, I thought the finale was a tad underwhelming in comparison to the rest of the show, but I think that speaks more to the quality of the show rather than the quality of the finale. Because I think in any other series that would have been a pretty great finale, but I just thought the show had kind of like built up so much hype for me personally that I was expecting some kind of just insane finale. But yeah, my grievances are more with what we, I guess, didn't get than what we did. But it was nice to see kind of John having his redemption arc, and albeit in all fairness, I was kind of hoping that he would just rock up and just murder the shit out of a few people, and then have his moment of like, oh, I should save them rather than go for Carly. But that's just me. But yeah, no, his new suit, the new Captain America, his new suit is pretty damn awesome. The only like nitpick I could ever think of was like I thought that the white was a bit too white. It just felt like kind of overwhelmingly clean. But aside from that, it was awesome. And just seeing like he's got the wings and the shield on it and back, it just looked really, really cool. Yeah, I really dig it. It's one of those things that they've translated really well onto the screen. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that in a movie.
I thought it was a very bright suit.
Yeah,
It was like really in your face.
Yeah, I think it was just the white for me. I think if the white was a bit toned down a little bit, it would have worked really well. It's like a 9 out of 10 suit, but it would have been 10 if it was just a little bit muted. But hey, it is what it is. I think my biggest like wish for the final episode that could have been different is I wish the scene with Bucky at the end was longer. When he goes and confesses his crime. I really like that was one thing where I think it was kind of, it was teased earlier on, and I was like, yes, I really want to see that because it's obviously this is a guy that he cares about, and he has to confess that he's killed his son. Like, that is setting up for a beautifully great scene. Just like when he has his conditioning broken, like that was a super powerful moment. So I was just like, please give us I'd gladly take like a 5-minute scene right at the end here just to let this whole thing play out. Let them act for us, But yeah, I think that's generally speaking as a whole over the whole show. I just wish people got more of a chance to act more. I think everyone's kind of acting to push the plot and push things along. People aren't. There's only like a handful of scenes where people are really acting for their character. I think like where Bucky has his conditioning broken is probably the best example of that. Aside from that, everything's like, oh, we've got to move the plot. And maybe if they had an extra episode, that could have been fixed. But overall, loved it. That's why.
Yeah, it was a cool shot when spoilers when Carolee dies and Sam is kind of flying, and it's kind of like a Batman v Superman-esque kind of shot with Henry Cavill's Superman. I thought that was really well done. It was really cool, and the final speech then in front of the media was a little bit like what's the word? It's like a little bit okay. You're just, I don't know what's the word, like not cheesy, but just like it was
ham-fisted. I would say it was just kind of like okay, dude, I get it.
Yeah. And very convenient as well. The cameras are there, and he's there talking and stuff like that. But still, it was a pretty good speech, and it kind of went on for a little bit as well, longer than I was expecting. But it shows to show that like there can be change and there's nothing wrong with a black person in this kind of role of being Captain America. I say Bradley was able to see that as well. So that was pretty good. I thought it was funny with Bucky when he goes, sorry, did you say that? I missed that. I was texting or something like that after the speech. Kind of funny. But yeah, so I thought it was pretty good. And I can't wait to see Captain America 4 with the same team involved. I think the same showrunner is going to be one of the writers in the script. One of the script writers is going to be a writer on the script as well from the TV show to the movie. So yeah, that's exciting to see that. And to give fans what they want. Another Captain America movie, of course, Captain America 4, it's going to be called something else. And I wonder, will Bucky appear in that? Will we get to see more Flag Smashers?
Has to, I guess.
Yeah.
It's got to have Bucky.
I think it was the chemistry between the two was brilliant, so I think fans have been loving it. So to take him out and not have him in it will be a little bit kind of disappointing. But I don't know if Sam can work as well without Bucky now. No.
Well, I mean, like, this is the thing, when you talk about that chemistry, at like the start of the show, it's kind of like, oh, you know, they're ribbing each other, they're just they don't get along, and then at the end they're forced, you know, some kind of like buddy cop movie where you've got like a hot-headed detective and you've got this play by the rules guy, and it's like button heads, and eventually they come together, set aside their differences. But it didn't feel cliched like at all throughout the entire show. It felt just like the transition from them being like to them being, you know, buds was just seamless. You know, I got to the end and I was like, I would happily have more of this. I would happily have a movie of this. I'd have another season of this. But one of the things I do really like is how committed they are to Cap as Sam as the new Captain America, with the fact that they changed all the title card at the end to say Captain America and the Winter Soldier. They had on all their social medias, they've changed the picture to Sam as well. I think that's really great. It almost felt like it should just be called Captain America and Bucky now, because if Falcon has now become Captain America and Bucky has broken his conditioning, surely he's not the Winter Soldier anymore. It should just be called Captain America and Bucky. But I guess that doesn't sound as cool as the Winter Soldier. But I don't know. I really liked how they committed to that. But yeah, it's good.
I wonder, the agent who's I forget his name, but he was in the earlier episodes. I think in the comics he becomes like the next Falcon or something like that.
Oh yeah. Torres. Is it Torres? I think so.
Yeah. Remember the scene like, what about your wings? And Sam goes, keep them. So that may be a nod that he might be becoming that kind of hero in the future. Sure, he'll probably be in the movie as well. But yeah, I think like the season really suited it because it gives them time to really delve deep into the characters and flesh them out, have a look at the villain side point of view. Because if this is a movie, of course, it would have just been 2 hours. 2 hours, just over 2 hours. This was 6 hours of storytelling, or just under 6 hours. And the first 2 episodes felt like the first act of a movie. Of course, the 3 and 4 felt like the middle act, and then the final act, of course, then kind of you get your downtime moment in episode 5, where just building the boat. Like you get that in the movie, like the calm before the storm, and then you go into the big battle at the end. So yeah, I thought it worked pretty well. I mean, we only got one post-credit scene or 2 post-credit scenes in the entire.
Just the one, I think.
The one with John Walker. And so I thought it was cool for him to kind of get his redemption as well. I liked how he could have went after Carly, but he tried to save all the senators in the truck, and like he wasn't strong enough to do it. But it showed that there is good in his heart. He's trying to do the right thing. It's just he was overwhelmed with the expectation of trying to be Captain America, and the expectation of leading his country, and then the expectation of being his friend died, so like he was pretty messed up over that. So like they're all reasonable things. So I don't think he was ever a bad guy. He was just kind of trying to do the right thing, and kind of backfired him in the end. But he's going to be a federal agent now for the American government, US or a US agent. So that's interesting. I like John Walker as a character because I don't know, there's something about him that's kind of cool. But he has super soldier serum as well, so he's not going to go away anytime soon. And this Val character, which I don't know if it was a reshoot all of her scenes, but she was definitely supposed to appear in Black Widow first.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was some things about Florence Pugh's character was also meant to appear in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but was written out and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that but like, you know, people complain and be like, why did you cut that out? And when in reality the show works perfectly without them. Like there's no there feels like there's something missing here. Like if I hadn't seen a tweet saying that they were meant to be in it, never would have known, never would have cared, you know? It's like it gets to a point where it's like, okay, you don't need to go like that hard in showing it's a connected universe. Like it's pretty obvious, okay? You know, the whole thing is about Captain America and his legacy, and we've had like 50 films with him in. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't really feel he was particularly missing anything, but I think I think there were actually there were either two post credit scenes or one of them was just at the end of the episode and one was in the credits because one was U.S. Agent and the other was was it Sarah Carter or whatever being pardoned. So yeah, I mean that was. What do you make of that? What do you make of that like twist revelation that she's evil? I guess, or is she evil?
Is she even?
I don't know.
I kind of called the first time I seen her in Mandarin. Oh, she's the power broker. And she was, but like it's not like it was a big like secret. Everyone most people thought she was the power broker. Yeah, she seems like I don't know if she's a villain because like around Sam and Bucky, she's like really nice and having fun and helping them and stuff like that. Then on the side, she was the one who helped all the Flag Smashers get the super soldier serum and wanted them to work for her. And she felt betrayed by her country, turning on her, but now she's pardoned. So what's her end goal here? Seems like a little bit forced, a little bit our character. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't really get to know what her end game was. Maybe she just wants power. Maybe she just wants to have her own kind of thing. But I don't think she's trying to take over the world or anything. Or
She just seems like I just want some power for myself. I want my own.
Yeah.
Give me a city that I can be in charge of, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, so it is a bit strange, but maybe it'll pick up. Maybe she'll be a bigger part of, like the Captain America trilogy. Like Sam was a big part of that. Bucky was a big part of that. Sharon Carter was a big part of that, of course.
Sharon, yeah, sorry, I don't know what the hell I called her.
Then Haley Atwell's character as well. Agent Carter, I don't know what first was, but yeah, like they're a big part of these stories. So I'm sure this will carry over as Captain America 4. And maybe there's just more context to it that will make us look back at Falcon Soldier and think, oh yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, that's something they definitely need to work on for the movie or the next appearance of Sharon Carter.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know, I think part of me feels that it's kind of the one, maybe if there's like one or two things that I would say the MCU needs to work on, just in terms of things that I find kind of consistently not up to the rest of the MCU's par would be soundtrack. But the second thing is villains. Like I just think it's very rare that you get an MCU villain that's like really fucking good. Like you have, I mean, Thanos is obviously the bar, but like you essentially had, Infinity War was essentially his movie. So you essentially did get like a 2.5-hour movie dedicated to him. So you had time to flesh him out and all this good stuff. But I don't know, like the Flag Smashers never really felt like a credible threat to me. I think they were super soldiers, and yeah, they killed John's friend, Battlestar was his alias, I think. But like aside from that, it never really felt like, oh no, it's kind of the same with WandaVision. I thought Agnes was a bit underwhelming as well. I thought she was better than Flag Smashers because Scarlet Witch seemed to be actually in distress and seemed to be freaking out, but you only really had like an episode of her being like the villain, like really villainous. So yeah, I just think part of me feels like they just need something a little bit more with their villains. I don't quite know what. I'm sure I could not write them any better, but it's just one thing that's like I just wish there was more of a threat. Like if one of them could just like Bucky gets the absolute shit beaten out of him or something, and it's like, oh no, now Falcon has to go by himself, and it's, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's just like a consistent thing.
I think as Kevin Feige said that before, their main concentration is on their heroes, so they don't really write to make an iconic villain. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they should try and change that a little bit. Thanos, of course, was brilliant. There's a few other villains, maybe Ike Keaton as the Vulture was pretty good.
Yeah. Here and there, they've got some really great villains. It's just like, it's just that kind of thing you keep seeing again, and you're like, come on, like I want a bigger threat. It's like in the space of like half an hour, well, not even that, in the space of like 25-30 minutes, in the space of that final episode, we go from, oh, they stormed the GRC to everyone's fine, and it's like, oh, okay, like,
yeah,
maybe like blow up a load of the GRC members or something like that, send a message. I know they kind of explain it in the plot and how they need them as hostages and stuff like that, but it's like up until that point, like I don't really feel that there's a threat going on. But as you say, if their focus is on the heroes, they've obviously done a very good job, because I thought the series was great, even in light of these things. So yeah, I don't know. It's just when you get a really compelling villain, when you get someone, I'm not saying these shows need a Thanos all the time, but it's just, somebody that will like the example that comes to mind as a really good one would be if you're going to have a Batfleck show, someone like Joe Manganiello would be a very good villain, at least in principle, because of him being, a physical match for Batman, intellectually capable. He has the advantage over Batman in because he has this information, he has this leverage over him. It's like that right there. That's the perfect like groundswell for a really great villain. So I don't know. I'd love to be proved wrong. That's all I can say.
Yeah, well, Spider-Man 3, we're getting some of the best villains of all time.
Yes.
Goblin coming back. Yeah. Dr. Octopus, is it?
Yep. Alfred Molina.
Yeah, he's coming back. So, yeah, hopefully they're not underwritten. Hopefully they're as good as they were in the Raimi trilogy, because that's going to be awesome to see them come back. So,
and you essentially have a movie there as a springboard for these characters to say, okay, this is them done perfectly, and how people love them, and that it's the main motivation for why we want to see them again. So just go off that. That's all you gotta do. Don't bastardize those.
Yeah.
And hopefully they don't severely undermine the end of Spider-Man 2, because I'll be very unhappy with that, because it's a fantastic ending to a movie, and if it's just like, oh, he floated in the river and then he just appears into another film, like, oh. But hey, I'll be open-minded. Obviously, I'm happy to see Alfred Molina coming back, and it's got the foundation for something fucking insane with Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I think they're using the aging technology for Alfred Molina. So I don't know if he's going to be, if he's going to always be in Spider-Man 2, the timeline, or is he be brought in at the same age, or what way they're going to do. But still, it's very interesting to think about it. But yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was pretty good. I enjoyed all 6 episodes. I think it was better than WandaVision, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
And the ending was a little bit better, because I don't know, I just felt the ending, the closure for this episode was pretty good.
Yeah.
And a few hours later we found out there's Captain America 4 coming, so that's something to look forward to. They're in the writing process for that. We get to hear casting probably in the next few months anyway. But that's awesome. And like Marvel has so many movies on the table right now. They got Blade, and that's yet to film and come as well. So yeah, I think it's great to have a character like Captain America, and then for them to announce a 4th Captain America and then new actors coming in. But it's not like it's a reboot, or it's not like it's a recasting. It's a continuation of the story, which I think is the.
Isn't that great how they went from one iteration of a character to another in an actual sensible story progression, rather than just going, oh, fuck you, Ben Affleck. Robert Pattinson, you're the new one. All right, new continuity, And don't get me wrong, I'm very fucking excited for that. But it's just like, fuck it, let's just get rid of him. Oh, we don't want Henry Cavill's Superman. It's not like we could do a one film where he passes the torch to a Supergirl. No.
Yeah.
Fuck you. It's just fucking painful sometimes to be a DC fan.
Yeah, and the thing is, like we're looking forward to the Batman movie, but it feels like a greater story when it's the same kind of iconic name. But it's just a continuation of the story we take on the mantle. I'm glad Steve Rogers didn't show up in the finale.
Yeah.
Because I think it would have took away from Sam becoming the Captain America. So,
yeah, for sure. Because what would it have been? It would have been just some flashback to like some other scene, like a new scene or something. And it's like no, don't do that. This is its own story, and it works perfectly. And Sam has this amazing arc. Don't just shove Chris Evans in there just so people go, "Oh my God, it's Chris Evans!" Like, come on.
And that would have been trending, was Chris Evans. It wouldn't have been.
No.
It probably would have outtrended Captain America 4 announcement. It probably would have outtrended the finale. So I'm glad, because it would have took away from those characters.
Yeah, you're right. Bang on. It would have completely just undermined this amazing moment for Sam, and it would have been like, oh yeah, he's the new Cap. Oh, whatever. But Chris Evans said this. It's like, come on.
Yeah,
you got a new Cap.
He's the new Captain America right now, and he's got wings, so it's kind of an evolution of the character.
I loved his the way he used it. Like the best bit, in my opinion, was when he was on the bridge and he saved the dude where like the wings came around him and the shield was on top. I was like, damn, that was so fucking cool. That was just seamless. And as I said before, seeing him flying around with the shield on the back, it just looked awesome. Like you have this, it's very dark, but the whole time you've got this like bright blue and red, and silver going through. Oh man. That bit was great.
Yeah. And we got to spend 6 extra hours with these characters. We're going to care for them a lot more now when we see them in Captain America 4. You like this show was great because you can get rid of all the kind of not rid of it all, but there's so much more backstory and so much more stuff that these characters about. You went on this journey with them for 6 episodes, and then you go into a movie with them, and you're like, oh, we're picking straight back up here, and I actually care what happens to these characters now.
Yeah.
This is a show that I wasn't too hyped for at all. I thought the trailers were very mediocre. I wasn't impressed, and I sat down the minute I finished episode 1. I was like, yeah,
yep.
This is different stuff, and people were like, oh, wait for it, it'll get MCU-esque going into the last few episodes, but I don't think it did. I think it stood to the tone it was trying to set and didn't shy away from the themes it hit hard on, which was racism and how the people treat heroes when they're not in their uniform to when they are in their uniform. So I thought that was pretty good, and all the stuff with Bucky was amazing. So yeah, fair play to the writers. It was mostly a black writers' room, so that's good, and the female director for all 6 episodes. So I think they really hit the nail on the head, and they did an impressive job. And maybe as a white man, thought they did an impressive job, and maybe people of color would have thought they did a bad job. But what I've seen online, people have praised it, so they must have did something right.
Yeah, and I mean it's I think you said earlier, it's one of those things that the significance of this series and the significance of Sam's arc may not it may resonate with us a really cool level, and we really love it, and I think it's a really perfectly executed arc and seamless. But there will be people out there who are probably crying watching this shit, just thinking finally, this is what I wanted to see, and it's nice to see them not. I don't know. It feels like it could have been one of those. If it was MCUified, if we can use that term informally or whatever, I feel like MCUifying this show would have been not talking about racism at all, or maybe having one scene or one line where they're saying they'll never let a black man be Captain America, and then he's like, fuck you, I'm not going to do that, and then he becomes Captain America, and he's great. That was kind of what I was in for, expecting-wise. I didn't really think that they were going to go, oh, this is something that, young teens might watch, and they may just want to watch a cool action show, and they're like, no, this is, you have Isaiah, who's just in this, deep depression of the horrible life that he had to live because of all this, and this amazing arc that Sam has, and, the bit at the end with the museum. That was the bit that I got choked up at that bit, because it was just as soon as it hard cut to inside the museum, I was like, oh no, he's gonna have a bit for him. So, struggling to hold it together. But yeah, no, it's one of those things that we may never know, but from what we've seen, I can see why it would resonate with a hell of a lot of people, and I am very glad that we're getting a movie follow-up to this. I would have been happy with just a second season. I think a second season could have worked perfectly. Yeah, I would have probably preferred that, because it would have been 6 hours and not 2. But
yeah, it would have got more time with the characters. But look, they want to make money, and this is a way to make money. So, the show, we got the numbers, or we got the reports that's the most watched thing on Disney Plus after episode 1. 5 weeks later, really the movie. It shows the difference between 2 streaming services, which is a shame. So if it was Netflix, or if it was Hulu, or if it was Amazon, and the exact same thing happened, they would have greenlit more as well. It's just HBO Max didn't bother with whatever stuff they have. But anyway, that's their own fault. That's their own problem. But that's why I don't think Marvel will be ever caught, because they're just so far ahead of the game. And you don't even have to catch them, but you just.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's one streaming services feel like they need to catch Marvel, and it's just not going to happen. Just do your own thing, and you'll probably get a hell of a lot closer doing your own thing than you will trying to emulate something. If people want to watch Marvel stuff, they're not going to come to you for off-brand Marvel stuff. They're just going to go to Disney Plus. It's one of those things. It's how have certain executives at certain companies not registered that? But hey, they got a shitload of money. They don't care what we say. It's depressing. But it's true.
Could hurt them in the long run, but we'll have to see.
Oh no, most definitely will. I think as you say, I think there's a massive problem with HBO Max once their same day deal runs out. What do you have left? What do you have? You've got a couple of really great series, but you do not have anywhere near the slate of other streaming services at all. So
I think the flight attendant did pretty well here when they came here, but they don't care about international numbers or whatever. They have contracts with Sky or Now TV or Foxtel, but that's all they are, is contracts with those companies. They don't really care how many people watch these things over here, because if they did, they would broadcast it out. They would say, this is many people watched it in UK, and it shows how successful the HBO Max original was worldwide. That's the way they should do these things, but they don't. Like, that's all you have to do is say, flight attendant, Raised by Wolves or whatever, or Zack Snyder's just domestically did this well, and that's a pretty big win. But look at internationally what it did in just random place, China, or
Yeah.
it's just random places, and then you could say, wow, that was a really big success worldwide. But no, that's just weird how they go about it. It really is. And then when you have Netflix, which I know they have Netflix all over the world, and they don't have contracts with other places to show their stuff, but they just broadcast how well something did, and they immediately greenlit something else, or even greenlit something before something comes out. Army of the Dead. But,
Yeah, I think Netflix is maybe, and I might be wrong on this. I'm happy to be wrong. I think Netflix is kind of starting to take a bit of a hit. I think maybe plateauing a little bit in terms of, like, they just seem to be. I know we've talked a lot and praised a lot about their kind of, I guess I don't want to call it content. I feel it's a really horrible way of phrasing things, but the product, it's even worse. The films and shows that they greenlight, we've praised a lot about how it's just been, oh, you want to do this? Here's some money. Go do it. We're not going to have control over it. We're not going to say what you can and can't do. You just do whatever you want. We've praised that a lot, but at the same point, you basically have a sieve, which is just a big hole. It's not catching anything. It's not stopping any bad shit from getting through. And I think I've just like a general read of the room. Is there certain things coming out that people are just like, this is trash. I don't want to see this. Like things about content houses, where you have all these famous YouTubers or whatever all living together, and it's like, oh, let's do a streaming show, let's do a Netflix show about that. It's like, what? And with that becomes a problem, because you can't just have the people who say, oh, if you don't like it, don't watch it. If you keep doing it, you're then going to have so many people just associating your streaming service with this trash, and you're like, I don't want to watch this anymore. So, who knows? I mean, it's good to see if they get desperate a little bit, because then they start going for better content.
They're still the big dogs at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're sweating anything at the moment, but it's just one of those things you got to be aware of.
Their stock did go down because they didn't meet like the 2 million they were expecting. Like their goal was 210 million subscribers, and they got 208.
Oh,
a little bit of their investors were pissed off.
I'm cancelling my subscription because they didn't get those extra 2 million.
Yeah, but it just shows the bar that they set, and I think they'll probably have to. I don't know if they ever will, but maybe just weekly shows. So you're anticipating episodes, because something like Cobra Kai comes out. If you wanted to, you could watch all episodes on the Friday, and you're done.
Yeah.
The next show to come out, then of course other people watch it maybe an episode a night or something like that. But like, there's a big anticipation. If a cliffhanger happens on a Friday, you have to wait until the next Friday for an episode. Probably won't work for like 30-minute episodes. It was a big show. Like, if I don't know if Army did it was a live action series. I think a weekly run thing would do pretty well for that. But yeah, it's just maybe something will have to change. But yeah, they're the top dogs. They're the main guys. But Disney Plus isn't too far behind either.
Oh yeah.
And I think maybe Disney Star. I don't know if you have that Disney Star. I think it's a good thing to have there as well. More mature movies, and they have the Mandalorian, WandaVision, all the MCU shows. So yeah, I think all these streaming services have something big. Netflix, of course, have unlimited stuff. Amazon have The Boys. They have, I think, Invincible, and there's a new show out as well that's doing pretty well. I don't even have to watch it, but they always have big shows that people are hyped about. So yeah.
You just got me thinking about The Boys again, and just
the
fact that it's in production and they're shooting, and I'm just like, I just need a trailer. I need that back. I've missed The Boys so much. It's such a good show. But yeah, I bet you they have Easter eggs or comments about maybe the Snyder Cut or like WandaVision or something like that. I bet you there's some kind of stuff like that. Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I want to say that there was some Snyder Easter eggs in The Boys at some point, but I'm actually that was it. Like the Dawn of the Seven movie, looking exactly like BVS. Mentioning the Joss rewrites. Yeah, that was it. So yeah, it's I definitely think we'll get a couple of. I'm definitely putting money on there being some Snyder Cut reference. 100%. That's, as you say. I think that's just something 100% they do, and I will never stop holding out for my hope of a Zack Snyder directed episode of The Boys. But
cool.
Who knows? I can hope. I mean, I think he's pretty busy at the moment. He's got some stuff out on HBO Max. He's doing something for Netflix. I think some zombie shit. I don't know. So it might be a little busy. But
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, no, I mean that's really it. That's happy with how Falcon and Winter Soldier ended. What's next in the kind of, well, Mortal Kombat came out, but I have not seen that. Um,
Yeah, we could talk about that maybe next week if you have seen it. Um,
what else is coming? What's next up in the big
we've
schedule?
got we've got Loki, and
Hmm.
that's coming out in a few weeks. Then we've got Black Widow,
Yes,
and
Army of the
then we
Dead
got
is end of the
Army of
month.
the Dead. He's coming out 23rd of May, and I don't really know what else is coming. Well, there's a few other things that'll pop up.
There's a teeny bit of a lull, I think, but
Yeah.
I'm sure we can. I'm sure we'll find things to talk about. Hopefully.
Oh, we're just here talking about the weather and COVID, but
turn
no.
this into a proper podcast. We just get
Yeah.
absolutely trashed and God knows what. But yeah, no, I mean it's a nice in and out job. Nice quick.
Yeah.
I don't really think because yeah, it's a bit of a, aside from the finale, nothing really else happened. So
And many people don't care about the Oscars, and the Oscars are kind of
yeah.
boring anyway because not everyone sees all the movies. Like it'd be different if there were like Oscars for Birds of Prey and
Mm.
and
Well,
Sonic
given
or
the
something
state
like
of
that.
things last year, it very nearly was. There's
Yeah,
fuck all came out. Stuff like, let's just nominate Birds of Prey for everything. It's probably gonna win.
yeah,
I mean, it rightfully deserves to win several awards. I really fucking enjoyed it, but like, it's definitely there's. I wonder if there had to have been a moment where Kathy Yan was probably just sat there going like, nothing else is coming out. I wonder if we could just try and push this, just try and win as
yeah.
many awards as possible for this film. But
Well, it could have. The cinematography wasn't too bad in the movie. Could have
yeah,
did something
the
like that.
choreography was great. It
But
was Chad Stahelski with the choreography
yeah,
for that, wasn't it? Well, he came in and did some extra stuff after the
yeah,
fact. But like, hell yeah, like fucking in the GCPD lockup or whatever, where she's like clubbing people over the head with
yeah.
a
It's
steel ball.
cool.
It's like fuck it hell. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but when the art pieces like The Father or Nomad Land come out,
yeah,
like
it's like
that's like the Oscars' wet dream. They just love that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's hard to imagine like all the
or Mike.
stiff upper lip people going like, oh yes, Birds of Prey, it's absolutely exquisite. Anthony Hopkins is a
Yeah,
trash actor. It should be Birds of Prey. Like,
yeah.
I
It's like
suppose.
like are you really going to give Birds of Prey best cinematography over Mank? Like
Mm,
even if Birds of Prey had the better cinematography, are
yeah,
you actually going to give Birds of Prey an Oscar and not give David Fincher Mank movie and not at least one Oscar? So like it's just the way it kind of goes. Yeah, it's just the way of Hollywood.
yeah. Oh well.
I feel bad for them. Oh,
Yeah, well, yeah, it's annoying when you don't make that like Hollywood, as you say, that Hollywood wet dream movie where it's like this is exactly what's going to win the awards, and then you have
yeah,
like 10% of people who watch you go, that was the greatest movie I've ever seen, and everyone else is like,
yeah,
what? Like I don't even understand what I saw. There's all a lot of outrage over Tenet winning awards, and like people saying it's trash. I'm like, yeah, calm down. It's not great, but it's in my opinion. But that's a whole
the
nother episode.
yeah, I have to watch it again. I watched it and I didn't really I watched it but I didn't hard to take it all in, so I have to watch it definitely again.
Yeah, second time around
Um,
definitely helped a bit,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it does
I
feel a
think
bit like Nolan being, I don't know, a tiny bit pretentious. But that's just my take.
I'm probably would have did better, of course. It came out for me now in cinemas, not last
Yeah,
winter. But like he was trying to do the right thing, and they made good money worldwide, 350 million. It's not bad, especially when the pandemic was really bad. So he did well. But I'm surprised that Mike win Best Picture, considering this is a movie about Citizen Kane, and it stars Gary Oldman, and it's directed by David Fincher. So I thought that movie was going to be certain to maybe clean up awards because it's a very Oscar movie,
it's
black
an
and white.
Oscar movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. I've yet to watch it. I just didn't really watch it when it came out. It's on Netflix, so all I have to do is press play. But like, I might get bored. It's
Yeah, well, I
fun.
mean, it does get me more excited for Nomadland because I remember when the trailer came out, I was like, damn, this actually looks pretty damn cool. And then winning Oscars, like, okay, and I'm sure plenty of Marvel fans getting excited for Chloe Zhao.
Chloe, yeah,
Saying last name, yeah, directed that, directed Eternals, so I'm sure they'll be slapping Oscar-winning director on every single trailer that they have, and rightfully so. Why wouldn't you? But
yeah,
yeah, maybe that bodes well. It'd be nice to see what a bit of Oscar-winning flair could bring to the MCU dynamic, but
yeah,
just have to wait and see. Haven't been let down by
yeah.
Phase 4 so far. Well, a teeny bit, but not a
No,
lot.
and I don't know, Grace Randolph was saying it's one of the greatest comic book movies. That's the reports of Marvel is one of the best of all time. But like, they're hardly going to say it's the worst of all time.
This movie will blow you away because it's trash.
Yeah.
Go see it.
Yeah, they're hardly going to say that. But not so many big trailers hit. West Side Story trailer came out. Steven Spielberg's next movie, which is coming out in November or December, I think. That seems like an Oscar type of movie as well. Probably win best choreograph or best makeup or best. It wins something. Steven Spielberg's involved, but I think a trailer for Into the Heights or In the Heights or something like that.
Yeah,
They're kind of musical or something like that. And I didn't watch those two trailers. I put them up on my Instagram, but I didn't watch them. I thought I just didn't watch them, but I think there was another trailer for Nine Strangers, something like that.
Right.
It's a Hulu series that's coming. There's a lot of celebrities in it, Nicole Kidman, Melissa McCarthy, a few other big ones in it as well. And I think it's like a mystery, weird type of show coming to Hulu. But that's the only trailers that kind of came out. It wasn't anything big. I don't know. I think usually you might get a bigger trailer, but I didn't really. Maybe this year they thought nobody's gonna be watching anyway. So what's the point spending money on a big trailer?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's one of those like essentially the acting version of the entertainment version of the Super Bowl for cost so fucking much just to get your trailer put out there. And then everyone's just worked out that you could just upload it to YouTube for free and then you're done.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah. And the thing is about like the Super Bowl, it's general audiences watch these Super Bowls like an event. The Oscars is probably just movie fans or people with an interest in movies that are watching it anyway.
Yeah. It's not like, oh god, I've cleared my schedule to watch the Oscars. I've been looking forward to this for ages. I've seen all the movies. It's like, no, you could very easily watch something like the Super Bowl having not watched any NFL for like the last couple months.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it's a bit difficult with the Oscars because you're just like, should they have won? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I haven't seen any of these movies.
yeah, I'm just guessing at this point. Yes, so they well done. But yeah, is what it is. But hey, that's it.
That's it.
Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice quick one, but nothing really else to talk about. I'm sure we could bullshit for another like hour about what we think will happen in the next Captain America movie, but I don't think anybody wants to do that. And I've got the smell of pork in my nose for the last like hour because it's like literally one room over. I really want some fucking food.
It's calling you. It's calling you.
It is. But happy?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see you next week with a guest, I think.
Yes, we should hopefully have a guest. Next few episodes we'll have guests, and hopefully maybe in a month's time we'll have a guest. So I can't say anything because it'll probably not happen then, but you know.
Capital letters. Guest in capital letters.
Yes. So thank you everybody for watching. And we will let me just go to there. We will see you when we see you.
Bye-bye.